It's 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in October. 28-year-old Marcus is sitting at his desk in a small apartment in Chicago. His Japanese textbook is open to page 12. It has been open to page 12 for 127 days. In about 4 seconds, he will close the textbook without reading a single sentence. He will pick up his phone, he will open YouTube, and he will genuinely believe for the 5th night this week that tomorrow is the day he finally starts. He will do this again the next night and the night after for the next 3 years. He does not know why. Until recently, neither did neuroscience. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to answer 3 questions. First, what is actually happening in Marcus's brain in the 4 seconds before he closes that textbook? Second, why is the exact same thing running in your head right now about whatever you've been about to start for the last 2 years? And third, is there a real neurological way to break the cycle in under 2 minutes, starting tonight? Because here is what every other video will tell you. You are lazy. You lack discipline. You need to wake up at 4 a.m. and manifest your goals. This is not what the research says. Procrastination, as studied by Dr. Tim Pitchell across 20 years of experimental work, is not a time management problem. It is not a willpower problem. It is not a problem of discipline, hustle, or hormones. It is an emotion regulation problem, which is a clinical way of saying your brain is running from a feeling, and it has gotten extremely good at it. I've spent 4 years studying the neuroscience of this exact cycle. I also have a Duolingo streak I abandoned at day 147, so I'm talking to you as the expert and also as the problem. Now that you know the truth, you have a responsibility. You know it's not laziness. Hit like on this video, then hit the hype button. 2 seconds of your time could save someone else from abandoning their language dream tonight. Here is the exact sequence running in Marcus's brain. At 11:47 p.m., he looks at the textbook. For a fraction of a second, his brain simulates what studying is going to feel like, not what it will teach him, what it will feel like. Overwhelming, boring. A reminder that he is 4 months in and still cannot read a menu. That simulation generates a small, sharp burst of negative emotion, and his brain, which has spent millions of years optimizing to escape negative emotion, does what it does best. It offers him an exit, a notification, a video, anything that isn't this. The moment he takes the exit, the bad feeling disappears. And that relief, that tiny, almost unnoticeable release, is a reward. In psychology, behaviors that get rewarded get repeated. So his brain files away a quiet lesson. Avoiding the textbook makes the bad feeling stop. Tomorrow, the loop will run faster. In a month, it will run automatically. In a year, he will not even remember making the decision. What is physically happening is a fight between 2 parts of the brain. The first is the amygdala. Its job is to detect threats and trigger escape. It evolved to save you from being eaten. It cannot tell the difference between a predator and a textbook. If something feels dangerous, it's a tiger. The Anki deck you haven't opened in 11 days, enormous tiger. The Italian tutor on Preply you haven't messaged back, the biggest tiger of your life. The second system is the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. This is the part of your brain responsible for executive override. It is the reason you brush your teeth when you don't want to, the reason you go to the gym when you don't want to, the reason you do anything you don't want to. And it is losing, right now, tonight, in millions of bedrooms, to a PDF of a beginner textbook. Neuroscientists call this an amygdala hijack. The emotional brain overrides the rational brain. The caveman wins! Here is the part no one tells you. Every time Marcus runs this loop, simulate, dread, escape, relief, he is not sitting neutral. He is physically strengthening the neural pathway for avoidance. Each repetition lays down more myelin on the escape circuit. The path gets faster, more automatic, more default. Meanwhile, the circuit that would have sat him down and made him study, the executive overdive pathway, is weakening, like a muscle he stopped using. Which means something almost no one says out loud: the longer you have been about to start, the harder it is to start. Marcus didn't lose 3 years to Japanese because he was busy. He lost 3 years because every single night he was there at that desk, actively training his brain to avoid the thing he said he wanted most. The people who have been meaning to learn Spanish for 4 years, those are not 4 neutral years. Those are 4 years of getting worse at starting. Now, your brain is smart. It knows that sitting there doing nothing will trigger guilt. And guilt is just another negative emotion the amygdala wants to escape. So it disguises the avoidance as productivity. There are 2 disguises. Both of them are probably running on you right now. Disguise 1 is perfectionism. This is the learner who will not speak a word of the language until they are ready. No accent mistakes, no grammar errors, no embarrassment. Which is to say, never. Because the only way to get good at speaking is to speak badly, out loud, for a very long time, until you stop being bad. Research in other fields confirms this. More perfectionist academics publish fewer papers than less perfectionist ones, even when you control for work ethic. They don't work less, they just never start, so they never fall short. Perfectionism is avoidance wearing a suit. Disguise 2 is worse, because it feels exactly like progress. This is the Duolingo user with the 900-day streak who cannot order a coffee. The textbook hoarder with 12 PDFs and 0 pages read. The person who has been, for 4 consecutive months, researching which method is best for Korean. The Anki deck with 4,000 cards and an average review time of never. This is also, and I am genuinely sorry, the person watching this video, right now, instead of studying. Yeah, I know, I see you. Your brain picked this video specifically because it feels language adjacent. It feels like progress. It has all the aesthetics of learning and none of the risk. It is, neurologically, the exact same escape move as scrolling TikTok, just better branded. And here's the part I have been waiting 6 minutes to tell you. This is not actually a video about learning a language. Every dream you have been about to start for years is running the same 4-step program. Simulate, dread, escape, relief. Over and over, night after night, in the specific shape of whatever you told yourself you wanted most. The people you envy, the ones who actually learned the language, started the company, wrote the book, did not have more discipline than you. They had a smaller escape reflex. Or they interrupted it early, before it ossified. That is the whole difference. Which is also why, 18 months ago, I built something. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I'll show you in about a minute. All you need to know right now is this. It is the reason I am not still the person I was describing at the start of this video. And once you see what it actually is, you are going to be quietly furious that no one has built it before. You are not avoiding the textbook. You are not avoiding the gym. You are not avoiding the business plan. You are avoiding the way you think it is going to make you feel. And your brain is wrong about that feeling almost every time. Pickle's 20 years of data show that when people finally force themselves to start, almost none of them report being glad they waited. Every single one says, it wasn't as bad as I thought. So here is the prescription. It will feel too small to work. That is the point. In the next 2 minutes, not tomorrow, not Monday, not when things calm down, pick the thing you've been about to start for the longest. Do the smallest possible version of it. Open the textbook. Read 1 sentence. Close it. Put on your running shoes. Walk to the mailbox. Come back. Open the document. Write 1 line. It can be bad. That is the entire assignment. You will not become fluent tonight. That is not the point. The point is that for the first time in however long, the loop does not run. The pathway does not strengthen. And tomorrow, for the first time in years, it will be very slightly easier to start. Now, Remember that thing I told you to hold on to earlier? That the loop only fires when you have to sit down and decide to start? I built something around that. It's called vocaffusion, and the way it works is stupid simple. You pick your language, you put in your earbuds, you hit play, you pocket your phone. That is the entire setup. No screen, no swiping, no tapping through cards. Your eyes stay on the road, on the dishes, on the dog, on whatever you were already doing. Your phone stays in your pocket. And what you hear is a sentence in English, then a pause, a real pause, long enough that your brain has time to actually try and produce the translation before it hears it. And then the native speaker says it back to you in the language you've been about to start for 4 years. That pause is the entire mechanism. It's called active recall. It's the single most studied, most replicated finding in the science of memory. Hearing a word teaches you almost nothing. Trying to remember it and then being told whether you got it right is what moves it from, "I've heard that before," into something you actually own. And underneath that, there's a spaced repetition system tracking every single sentence you've heard. It knows what you're about to forget, and it surfaces those exact words right before you lose them. So you are never relearning. You are never wasting reps. The sentences themselves are inside actual stories. A guy who accidentally ends up cooking for a cartel. A woman who gets abducted by aliens and decides she lives there now. A gold smuggler at a pyramid whose visa just expired. You're not memorizing vocab lists. You're listening to a season of a weird little show in a language you don't speak yet, and your brain stops noticing it's learning. But here's the part that matters for everything this video has been about. The dread never fires. Because you never sit down. You never open a textbook. You never decide. The amygdala doesn't get a chance to label any of this as a tiger because you're folding laundry. You're walking to the train. You're driving. The loop has nothing to grab onto. It covers 7 languages right now: French, Spanish, German, Italian, Russian, Korean, Mandarin, across 3 levels, from absolute beginner to advanced. There's a launch deal running for the people who find it early. 50% off lifetime access. Not a subscription. You pay once, it's yours, forever. That offer goes away when it opens to the public. Link is in the description. If the language has been sitting on your list for years, try it tonight while you do the dishes. That's the entire ask. One last thing. The reason this is hard is not that the task is hard. It is that the escape feels good. The relief is real. That small release when you close the textbook and open your phone, your brain has been conditioning you to chase it for years. Which leads to the question I don't have time to answer tonight. If this loop is running in you about the language, and about the business, and about the body, and about the relationship, what else is it running on right now that you haven't noticed yet? What have you been quietly escaping that you don't even realize is an escape? I'll leave you with that one. It's 11:47 p.m. The textbook is open. You have about 4 seconds.